So we're riding the roller coaster here. And last night was obviously not good from the Oilers. Bouchard again made another mistake, leads to a game-winning goal. We're just living in this matrix that just is the same thing that happens every day. What do they call that? The Truman Show? That's it. How many other teams in the NHL are like this in the sense of like are struggling to find their consistency right now? Because I feel like our chat needs to hear this a little bit too of like the Oilers aren't just one of 32 teams that are struggling here. Like the entire Eastern Conference is over 500, and it's not because every single team is good. You know what I mean? Like how many other teams are just riding this roller coaster too?
Well, there's a lot. Like I'll give you one that's familiar to the Oiler Nation. It's the LA Kings. Like they're right behind them. They're a point back. They're on the outside looking in. I was at one of their games last week against Detroit. They looked like crap. Like how they ended up tying that game and almost winning it, and then ultimately losing it a shootout. Good for them. They earned a point. But they're an inconsistent group. They've been trying to find their level of consistency throughout. Some of the guys that are expected to do a little bit better, like their third line that they've counted on for a while with Danault and Moore, and albeit Fogle is out, and it sounds like he's not going to be out as long as everyone anticipated, but like they're not doing well. Some of their other guys haven't contributed. Kuzmenko on the first line, he's got 6 or 7 points, but they anticipated him being, at a 60-point clip pace to perform this season. Team that I'm in my backyard, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, yeah, they pulled it out of their hat last night against Pittsburgh, but they've been ridiculously inconsistent all season long. And the emotions you're feeling there, I'm sure are the same for a lot of the fan base in Toronto, because they just haven't been able to muster up consistent play in that first month and a bit now of the season. Like, this is across the board. Again, we're early, and this is why, when you get to a stage or a point in the season where you're in that dozen mark and you're seeing so many teams kind of all mapped together and grouped together, it's not necessarily, parity doing its job. It's more just across the board inconsistent performances that we're seeing. So a loss against St. Louis, on November 3rd, you get that out of the way, because come March 4th, you're going to be rolling them the way that they've been playing. So you kind of get these kinks out of the way now, and eventually, especially in the NHL, one of the leagues that does this the best, they do a great way of separating the cream of the crop from the lower seeds. And the league has a great way of evening itself out from that perspective. It's a little longer than normal, but I think with just how many teams are kind of battling right now, you're going to start to see teams like the Oilers start to make that incline soon enough, and perhaps this is perfect timing with Hyman on the horizon.
Yeah, and I also think there is a bit of, and we see this kind of every year, like teams that weren't good last year, or teams that are, I don't want to call them bad teams, but I'll just say it for the sake of simplicity, like bad teams are usually better early on in the season because, like, they got something to fight for. Like, do I think Chicago is going to have this level of energy? Or, like, the Islanders, when they scored that goal the other day, I know we talked about it, their bench reacted like they just scored a Stanley Cup goal. That doesn't hold up through the whole year. Bad teams, they just have a bit more fight in them. They have a chip on their shoulder early in the year.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if we go back to the East, like, I don't anticipate Detroit playing at the pace in which they're playing right now. Not over a full season. Great for them, good for their fan base, and good for that team that they're doing so well out of the gate through the first 12, 13 games, whatever it's been for them now. But eventually they're going to come back down to earth. And teams like Seattle, for example, they may still have enough in them to maintain a wild card battle. And that'll be exciting down the stretch, no question. But in terms of some of the top tier teams, like, do I think the Ducks are a 7-1-3 team right now, or whatever the hell record they are? Or 7-3, or whatever it is? No. But do I think because of this start, they're going to be playing some pretty solid hockey in February and March and probably April? Yeah, and that's good to see across the league. But eventually, again, these teams kind of come back down to earth. And the ones that are kind of – remember Tampa started the season in the first 3 weeks, they had one win? And everyone was losing their shit over what the hell was going on there. And now they're on a heater again, and they're back to where they should be. That's just how it works in the NHL.
It's even Buffalo. Buffalo, we thought everyone was going to be sold after the first week of the season. I know it's Buffalo are always bad, but it's like they've got it back on the rails now, and they're a perfectly fine team.
Middle of the pack in the East, although
the cream will always rise to the top.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.